What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Professor Anime. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, guys, I am here to bring you all my review of Boku no Hero Academia episode 10. So let's get this started. So in this episode of Boku no Hero Academia, we have it to where we see the villains finally go up against the heroes, some of the students in this episode. Now, before anyone ends up, going one-on-one with some of the villains, we have it to where the students and, what was the guy's name? 13, I believe his name was 13. We have it to where 13, which is one of the teachers, and some of the students, pretty much all of them at this point, we have it to where they end up trying to escape and, tell the rest of the classmates within the school that pretty much, we are overrun by villains at this given point in time. We need to go tell the school so that way we can make the evacuation. Now, Eraserhead, on the other hand, he goes in like a boss in this episode. I told you, Eraserhead is a fucking G. He is strong as fuck, I mean, he's limited on what he can actually do, but for what he does in this episode just shows how badass he is. He can nullify the quirks, and then, he's taking all these opponents on one by one. I mean, dude, Eraserhead, fucking awesome, dude. So Eraserhead ends up blinking for 1 second, which causes him to lose his focus, and this ends up having a stronger type of villain getting right past him and blocking the path for the exit for the students and 13, blocking the path of the building that they are currently residing at. So this villain, apparently he has the ability to use warps. He basically can send people into different locations. Now, I don't know if this guy's ability is limited to, a certain distance, or maybe he was just using his warp powers only residing within the building just because there are so many other villains in this building that he wanted to basically see them suffer and he wanted to torture them. Basically what he stated. However, I don't really know if not he actually has like a certain limit as to, where he can actually, distance himself from, these other people, because it would be very interesting to see if he can actually, warp people into like a different dimension or something like that, So, yeah, that's worth considering regarding this villain, and I don't know if we will be seeing much from him in, the later parts of the episodes, because I haven't really seen that much from him in the manga. However, he is a pretty cool villain nonetheless. So what does the villain end up doing? Well, he pretty much ends up warping our students into different parts of the building, which each part of the building has its own different terrain into like 2 to 3 students into each group. Now, when it comes to the terrain of the group, this can either be advantageous towards the students or it could be at a disadvantage to them as well, because they don't really know what they're getting themselves into, to be quite honest with you. I mean, we could have Todoroki, for example. He has the ability to control fire, and he could end up being located at a place that has water, and he won't be able to use his ability. However, Todoroki can also use, ice, so he can pretty much freeze the water. So this would be either at a disadvantage to some of his quirks, or it could be advantageous towards the other half of his quirks. So, it's kind of like a win-loss situation for each of the students, because they just simply do not know which terrain they're going to get themselves into. And luckily we actually see the Frog Girl in this episode, which ends up helping out Mineta and Deku as well. She ends up getting located at a waterfront, which has a boat, and they are just completely surrounded in water, and the Frog Girl ends up proving a pretty good, strategist in this episode as well. She actually, ended up helping out Deku. I mean, Deku is technically the one that made the plan, but the Frog Girl ended up playing a large role into how they ended up overcoming the villains within that given area. Now, Ida, on the other hand, we really didn't see much from Ida in this episode. However, Ida has pretty much been given the biggest task amongst, the rest of the students within the group. I mean, he is the class representative after all, but his task is to pretty much blow right past the villain that is blocking the exit in the building and get to the other buildings in UA Academy and tell the rest of the teachers and the students to evacuate, and also, get some of the teachers to, help out, 13 and Eraserhead, fend fend off these villains. So yeah, I mean, because pretty much no one knows what's going on besides the people residing in that building where the villains are at. You know, in the rest of the villains, nobody knows what's going on. The principal doesn't know what's going on, which, you know, he's pretty funny, I gotta admit. And we have All Might. All Might is at a disadvantage as well because, you know, due to his ability, he can't really use his ability all that much because it puts a risk at his health, and on top of that, he doesn't know what's going on. So even if All Might was able to actually come into that building and help out everyone, we don't know what would happen to All Might. He might end up dying, or, you know, he might end up pretty much, you know, being at a big disadvantage because of his health condition. And remember, the villains ended up, you know, studying All Might, so even if he were to arrive in this little building that the villains and the students are currently located at and try to help everybody, you know, the villains would be at a big advantage compared to, you know, All Might. All Might would be at a complete disadvantage because he has no idea what to expect from these villains. However, the villains know what they can expect from All Might. So yeah, guys, that about does it for this episode review of Boku no Hero Academia. This was a pretty entertaining episode. Love the fight, love the strategy that Deku, Mineta, and Tsuyu ended up using within this given battle, and just seeing how they can take the most ridiculous quirks, like Mineta's quirk, for example, and actually use them to prove advantages into their battle tactics, using them against the villains. Like, that was pretty awesome to see. It was very funny, and, you know, just seeing a little bit more from Mineta in this episode on how, you know, he acts, you know, that was funny as well. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on what you thought about this episode, and of course, if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like. It always helps out the channel, and if you want to stick up to date to my future content on this channel, please hit that red subscribe button below, and you will never miss a video from me. That about does it for this video, guys, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.